Hey, what's up everyone, Starry Ray here, and welcome back to another NFL predictions video. It is week 15. Week 14 was just kind of okay. I think one of the biggest storylines coming out of week 14 was that Thursday night game where Baker Mayfield took over the Rams and he won that game. Crazy fourth quarter comeback for Baker Mayfield. And another storyline from week 14 came on Sunday Night Football when the Dolphins and Tua looked very awful again. This time they looked awful against the Chargers. Justin Herbert showed that he is not a social media quarterback. So yeah, those were some of the highlights from week 14, and some of the week 15 matchups look like they're going to be very interesting as well. Before we get into the predictions, make sure you like and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more NFL predictions, and you do not miss out on the Steelers recaps that we do weekly as well. The first game is Thursday Night Football, and it is the 49ers versus the Seahawks. Last week, the 49ers took care of business against Tampa Bay. The 49ers looked really amazing. We all knew that the 49ers had the best defense in the league, but I didn't know that they were going to just destroy and make Tom Brady's day just awful. Like, the beating that they put on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers was just, it was ugly, man. It was really ugly. Their defense is legit. So that's why when it comes to this game against the Seahawks, I feel very comfortable taking the 49ers and just disregarding the Seahawks. The Seahawks were in a dogfight against the Panthers, and the Panthers won that game. So yeah, I think that, the Panthers do not have a defense anywhere near the 49ers. So yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers. And Brock Purdy was actually looking very good. He was looking really good. And I don't know, that's kind of, maybe it was just a fluke, but I'll take them again, and we'll see how they do this week on Thursday Night Football. So I'm taking the 49ers. After that, we have some Saturday games. The first game is the Colts versus the Vikings. This one is very easy to pick. I'm taking the Vikings clean. The last time we saw the Colts was on that Sunday night game against the Cowboys, and that was just awful. And yeah, they're not a good team. The Vikings are a sus team at it. Like, they're not that good, but they're a lot better than the Colts, so they should win this game. So I'm taking the Vikings. After that is the Ravens versus the Browns. So at the time of recording, Lamar Jackson did miss the first week practice for this game. And if you recall last week, they said that it may be a couple weeks before we see Lamar again. And the Ravens are also unsure if they will have Tyler Huntley. Now this is going to be very huge because the Browns, while the Browns aren't a really great team, it really does make the Ravens the underdog in this matchup. The Browns haven't really asked much from Deshaun Watson. He's made some throws, he's made some plays. He's stepped up in the pocket and he hasn't looked the best, but he stepped out of the pocket and ran out, and he's made a couple plays. Deshaun Watson has been pretty decent so far. He hasn't been how much they paid for them, but he's been pretty decent. He's totally rusty for sure, but this is going to be an important game for the Browns and Deshaun Watson himself. So while it's up in the air who's going to be QB for the Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to be taking the Browns. As of right now, Deshaun Watson has looked pretty decent. Amari Cooper is still Amari Cooper, and they still have one of the best running backs in the league, Nick Chubb. So yeah, give me the Browns for this one, just because as of recording, I don't know who's going to be quarterback. And it's coming up very close. So yeah, give me the Browns for this one. After that is the Dolphins versus the Bills. Now this is a divisional matchup, and this has a lot on the line for the Dolphins, who have lost 2 games in a row and do not want to make it a third. In the Dolphins' 2 losses, they looked really bad. Offensively, they looked like nothing they've looked like before. And that is a huge concern. When the Dolphins struggled against the 49ers, we said, it was the 49ers. They have the best defense. It'll be fine. Next week against the Chargers, it'll be different. However, when it came to the Chargers, the Dolphins offense had no plans. They couldn't do anything, and Tua only had 10 completions on the whole entire night. So yeah, the Dolphins are really struggling right now. And the Bills played a very close game against the Jets. Now we know the Jets have a really good defense, but even in that game, they didn't play, up to par like they usually do play. However, they did secure that win, and that was a divisional matchup as well. However, when it comes to this game, I really am favoring the Bills, even though it is a divisional matchup. It's always closer. I think one of the things that I give the Bills the better edge is that this temperature, that Tua does not play good in temperature. We all know that. That's something that we always talk about. And now they're going to play in Buffalo, and I think it's supposed to be very cold and possibly snowing. And because of that, I got to go with the Bills. The Dolphins haven't shown that they can really win in cold temperatures. They struggled against the Chargers in LA, and the temperature was only like 50 degrees. So yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be very cold in Buffalo, especially around this time of the year, and it's going to be around 8 p.m. Yeah, give me the Bills for this one. And it really sucks because I am a Dolphins fan. I was on that Tua bandwagon, but man, they're struggling, and I don't think they're gonna really like figure it out against the Bills. Now we move on to the Sunday games. The first game is the Falcons versus the Saints. The Falcons are benching Marcus Mariota, and they're gonna be having Desmond Ridder play this week. While I was looking up information about this QB switch, I also found this article that says Marcus Mariota is leaving the team. He's not going to be with the team anymore. Like, he's just going home, I guess. The quote from Arthur Smith says, "Of course, we want all our guys to be here, but guys have to make decisions. It's part of professional sports. You have to have contingency plans." So it's going to be very interesting to see Desmond Ridder play. It's obviously like he's going to play the whole game. He's QB1 now. And, if something happens, they got to go to their backup, and that is not going to be Marcus Mariota. So even though while this is kind of crazy news, I'm going to be picking the Falcons over the Saints. The Saints haven't really showed me anything to be like to pick them. They really haven't played good football this year, and the Falcons haven't either. But I'm excited to see what Riddler does, and I'm excited just to see what this Falcons change does. I'm assuming it's probably going to just boost up the locker room and everything, because whenever something happens like this where someone's kind of separating themselves from the team, it always, I feel like, builds morale in the team locker room, depending on who it is, obviously. But I feel like this one, even though I do like Marcus Mariota, I feel like maybe the team wasn't fully bought in on him. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I'm gonna take Desmond in his rookie debut. After that is the Steelers versus the Panthers. Now I'm gonna make this one very, very simple and quick. You already know I'm a Steelers fan, and I'm gonna be taking the Steelers only if Kenny Pickett is playing. If Mitchell Trubisky is playing or Mason Rudolph is playing, I am not taking the Steelers in this game because I do not believe in them at all. And I honestly think that the Panthers are the favorite in this game. They played really, really good against the Seahawks. Like, they looked really good. Like, defensively, they looked really good, surprisingly. I didn't expect that. They've been, like I said, they've been iffy. They've been up and down, mostly down. But, during that Seahawks game, they looked really good. So, yeah, if Kenny Pickett's playing, give me the Steelers. If he's not playing, I gotta, I guess, pick the Panthers. After that is the Eagles versus the Bears. This is very easy. I don't think I really need to talk about it. I'm taking the Eagles. We just saw what they did to the Giants, like a 40 burger. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah, it was almost a 50 burger. Like, it was that's how good it was. They looked really, really good. And the Bears have been pretty up and down. They have some momentum. Like, they have some bright spots for next year, but it's not next year. So yeah, give me the Eagles for this one. After that is another game that I feel like I do not need to talk about a lot. That is the Chiefs versus the Texans. However, the Texans were in a close game against the Cowboys. It was very close. They had a chance to even win this game. However, they're not a good team, so they didn't capitalize on it. And the Chiefs were in a close game against the Broncos, but they were a good team, and they were able to capitalize when they needed it to win this game. And Patrick Mahomes was just doing some crazy stuff during that game. So yeah, I'm going to be taking the Chiefs with this one. I think the Chiefs are a lot better than the Cowboys, so I don't think it's going to be anywhere close. I don't think the Texans are going to be able to make this a close game like they did with the Cowboys. So yeah, give me the Chiefs. After that is the Cowboys versus the Jaguars. Now this game is going to be very, very interesting. I will not lie. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars have been turning up lately, and while the Cowboys are still a really good team, they show that they still have cowboy tendencies, and they almost lost a game to the Texans that only have one win. So yeah, this one's going to be very, very interesting, and the Jaguars being at home only makes it more interesting. For some reason, I feel like the Cowboys never play good at home. This is going to be very rough to pick. I kind of want to pick the Jaguars, but I feel like I just know that the Cowboys are a better team, but it's just so iffy. It's real. This one is very hard. I feel like this one is surprisingly 50-50 for this week. However, I'm going to be taking the Cowboys. I feel like the Texans game, there were just some things that didn't go their way. Just bad luck happened. And I think the Cowboys want a really certified win, not like an iffy win. I think they want to, they're going to come out of the gates really strong and try to put this game away very early. So give me the Cowboys on this one, but it is very iffy. After that is the Lions versus the Jets. I need to give credit to Mike White. Mike White took a beating against the Bills. He took two awful hits straight to the ribs. It looked really, really bad. It looked like they just speared him. Like, it was crazy. I thought they were gonna rip him in half. However, even though he took those awful hits, it's looking like he's gonna play this game against the Lions somehow, some way. While the Jets didn't win that Bills game, it was a very close game, like I said, and they had some chances to win it, but they weren't able to get over that hump because the Bills are just that good. And the Lions are coming off a really good win against the Vikings. Now, while I want to get super excited against this win, like I said, the Vikings are such a iffy team that they can lose games. Like, they can lose to like easy competitors, like teams that they should win, they sometimes lose to. And I feel like that was the case this week against the Lions. However, I do not want to discredit the Lions because the Lions have been playing amazing football and they still have to really go out there and like score the ball. Even though their defense has been pretty better, it's been better, but it's still not elite. I feel like their offense is really taking off though. Like, Jared Goff has been consistently good this whole season. However, for this game, I'm going to be taking the Jets because I do like their defense. I don't know if the Lions are going to be able to like pick it apart. It's gonna be this one's gonna be a very good game. It's gonna be a tough matchup for the Lions and even for the Jets. The Lions are not an easy cakewalk win. So yeah, it's gonna be very iffy, but I'm gonna take the Jets on this one. After that is the Cardinals versus the Broncos. On Monday night this week, the Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray tore his ACL, and that is very awful news. Now, I have to make it known that even though I am not a Kyler Murray fan, this is awful. I do not want to see anyone get injured. I've talked down on Kyler Murray like crazy, but I still I picked him to win that game against the Patriots, and I think they may have had a chance to win that game if Kyler Murray was playing and didn't get hurt so early on. It was a non-contact injury, and that's just awful. It's so awful to see, and it looked really bad. And yeah, I hope Kyler Murray the best. I hope the recovery process is good. Colt McCoy didn't really do much. He had some moments, I guess. For Colt McCoy, he had some moments. But yeah, the Cardinals were not able to win that game against the Patriots. And like I said, the Broncos were in a kind of a close game against the Chiefs. But Russell Wilson did suffer a concussion in that game. And as of recording, there's no new news about Russell Wilson's concussion. So yeah, this one is going to be very rough to pick. Both teams have been struggling this year, and it doesn't help that their quarterbacks, QB1s, are out. So I'm going to be taking the Cardinals, but that's only if Russell Wilson does not play. If Russell Wilson comes out of concussion protocol and is able to play, then I will take the Broncos for this game. But if not, then I'm going with the Cardinals. After that is the Patriots versus the Raiders. This game is going to be a very interesting game. As we talked about it in the beginning of the show, the Raiders have that awful loss to the Rams, and the Patriots had a really good win against a Kyler Murray-less Cardinals. It was a defensive showing for the Patriots in that game for sure. And this one is honestly rough to pick because I don't know, man. I want to go with the Raiders because I feel like they're the better team still, but they've just been losing games that they should win. Their defense I don't know, man. I don't know. The Raiders are so awful, man. And because of that, I guess I'm gonna go with the Patriots, even though I truly don't want to. I just gotta go with them because the Raiders have been letting me down. I've been kind of supporting them on the side, on the low, just because they've been so bad. I want them to like succeed a little bit, but they just can't. They just find ways to lose games every time. So yeah, give me the Patriots. They have the better defense, and I'm sure that's going to be a problem for them. After that is the Titans versus the Chargers. The Titans are coming off that loss to the Jaguars, a very bad loss in my opinion. And the Chargers had that amazing win against the Dolphins. And honestly, I'm going to be taking the Chargers in this game. At the beginning of the year, I said I wasn't sold on the Titans. I know they had a great head coach, but I just wasn't sold on the team. And they kind of proved me wrong for a bit, but this past 2 weeks, they've been proving me right. So yeah, I'm going to be taking the Chargers for this one. Justin Herbert is amazing, and it's just hard to pick against him. What he can do on the field is just amazing. It's hard to pick against Justin Herbert. So yeah, give me Justin Herbert and the Chargers. After that is the Bengals versus the Buccaneers. For this game, I'm going to be taking the Bengals. They looked pretty decent. Joe Burrow and the Bengals always kind of struggle against the Browns for some reason. They just struggle. Like the Browns defense always makes it a challenge for the Bengals. But they pulled out that win, and Joe Burrow had some amazing throws in that game. And like we already talked about it, the Buccaneers had that awful, just embarrassing loss to the 49ers. So while this game will be a lot easier for the Buccaneers because the Bengals do not have a great defense like that, I still think that they don't have that type of offensive power to really compete with the Bengals. So I'm going to be taking the Bengals. And lastly, it is Sunday Night Football, an awful matchup of the Giants versus the Commanders. Like I talked about earlier, the Giants got absolutely destroyed against the Eagles. And the Commanders are coming off a bye week. And the last game the Commanders faced was against the Giants, and it was the game where they tied. So yeah, this one is going to be very bad. I don't know why this is Sunday Night Football. It's gonna be a snooze fest. Imagine they tie again. That would be crazy if they tied again. So yeah, this one is hard to pick because last time they played, they tied. So I don't even know. Like, they didn't play good. Both teams didn't play good in that game. I'm gonna be taking the Commanders only because they're home. They have some home field advantage. But who knows? This game is just so iffy. Awful Sunday night game. And lastly, we have Monday Night Football, the Rams versus the Packers. Baker Mayfield versus Aaron Rodgers. This is must TV. This is actually must TV. Like we talked about, the Rams had an amazing fourth quarter comeback against the Raiders, and the Green Bay Packers are coming off a bye week. Now this is going to be my controversial pick of the week. I am taking the Rams and Baker Mayfield just because it was so exciting last week, and who knows, man? What if it just kind of feels like Baker Mayfield is going to win out. It just feels like he's going to win the rest of the games, and the Rams are going to be like, yo, is this our quarterback for next season? You know, it just kind of has that feeling. So I'm going to be taking the Rams over the Packers. The Packers haven't been playing that good, so it's kind of believable that Baker Mayfield may be able to win this game. So yeah, that is it for week 15 picks. Make sure you leave a comment and tell me what game you're looking forward to the most. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.